Hello and welcome to an episode of Talking Circle. Today we are joined left to right. We have Frances Blackburn. How are you today, Miss Frances?
I'm good. Good.
We have our regular crew here as well. We have Nicole Wagon in the center. And rounding it out, we have Liz Hodge. Welcome, ladies. Hey, I just want to do a really quick uh, statement here that we are representing ourselves. We're not representing the tribe. And that these are just our personal opinions based on our personal experiences. And we're all good with that. Yes?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we had a pregame show. The ladies, Frances came in and was a surprise guest. It was awesome. But now she's coming back to elaborate a little bit more on a couple of subjects that she wanted to talk about. And then we also have Nicole Wagon, who unfortunately wasn't able to make that one. So she definitely wanted to chime in on a couple of points as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I guess we'll just go over the agenda real quickly, just gloss over it. And if you guys want to elaborate on anything, I know during the pregame show, Liz and I had talked about the time limits. Do you think that is reasonable to have 15 minutes per tribal program to get up for reports?
No.
Because when you add it all up, it's over 2 hours of reports. And so we get there, hopefully we'll get a quorum, and then it's 2 hours of reports. What are your thoughts on that?
After people sit for a while, especially like 2 hours listening to, a couple of the presenters, I hate to say this, I'm not pointing anybody out, but they are a little dry. But after people sit there for 2 hours, they start to get a little tired and a little hungry and a little uncomfortable. Those seating arrangements are not comfortable at all. And the other thing is, studies have shown, don't ask me which studies, but that you can only capture a person's attention for so long. But also the business council, when they do their presentation, it seems to take the bulk of that. And people have a lot of questions that they don't really seem to get to all of their questions. And, people, do have some valid points and some valid questions, but still, that does take a lot of time.
Do you think maybe they should be having more informational meetings so people can get with them and share their issues and their concerns? I will say that I haven't seen very many informational meetings come out.
No, I think we should have them at least every quarter, at the very least. More would be better, but
not only that, if you recall the last attempted general council meeting turned informational, the chairperson, Sunny Goggles, for me, oppressed the people's voices, the questions. I got up in line. Oh, time's up. I only said 5 people. So that becomes a dictatorship forum. Whose meeting is this? And we need a new chairman. Just how that meeting went. And, I'm going to say clap, clap, clap for Sunny Goggles for thank you for having the past 2 general council meetings prior on a Friday, because that's what helped remove former chairman Lord Goggles from a council member's seat. Because in 6663A says Monday through Friday, you got to be at work from 8 to 4:45. So he chose not to come to 2 meetings on a Friday. He wasn't in the hospital, no doctor's note. And his action is he has no respect for the supreme governing body. And that's the people's meeting. So those kind of actions speak for themselves. So thank you, Sunny Goggles, for having those meetings on a Friday. And even though you denied one of my agenda items because from what I recall, she said it was a personal vendetta when it was facts in regards to former Chairman Goggles' actions of not honoring our general council resolutions and our hunting rights for our people. Those were 3 huge factors of removing the in-house attorney, what the people voted for, Pat LeCron, the CEO, what the people voted for, and then again with our hunting.
Yeah.
So to suppress or oppress the people's voice, people watch, and it wasn't a great meeting, especially how the feel of the room
Mm-hmm.
very, very abrasive.
Yeah.
So and as well as not clear that it was going to be informational, not clear that younger people under 18 could not be in the room. And then it was crazy begging everybody to come back to the hall because we had so much food to give away. But those were my kids that came in to attend. And I found it interesting that they just played in the hallway. They didn't interrupt anybody. They didn't have tablets. They didn't have a pen and paper. They didn't write down any notes to trade to China.
And they're tribal members.
And they're full-blooded tribal members. Correct. And we're to protect families, children, and the next generations to come. That's how I support our veterans and the armed forces. So
Yeah, absolutely. And did you guys notice that Councilman Goggles is on the agenda? He's supposed to get up and present his understanding of the relationships between the business council and general council. So we'll see if that happens.
yeah.
And Harjo, Councilwoman Harjo as well is supposed to present that.
Yeah, she didn't attend last meeting as well. So
Well, she should be attending this one because she's on the agenda with a couple of action, or if you want to call them action items. It's kind of weird what she has on here. But before we move on to that, who do you recommend for the next general council chairperson?
Well, let me say something really quick first. When they elect the general council chairperson, we should have some strong individuals there who, might want to do that. But also these individuals, I think, should know that their priority is with the general council, not who signs their paycheck. So, I think that's a conflict of interest to have. And I know it's hard to do, but it's a conflict of interest for program directors and people who answer to the business council to be general council chairperson. So, I think that it should be people with strong moral character, people who are not afraid to stand up to the business council, and people who are as objective and unbiased as possible.
Perfect. Do you have any names at the top of your head, at the tip of your tongue, Miss Hodge?
No, not anybody that would be willing to take that position.
Yeah, that's another thing. We had some people that were nominated last time and they said, no, I've got too much going on. It's a huge responsibility.
it is. And not only that, but the general council chairman, Liz and I have worked with many chairmen, very professional, met with us, told us what was going to be on the agenda, what couldn't be on the agenda, and why. Not so we weren't blindsided,
Yes.
with education and professionalism. So with that being said, unfortunately, Ms. Goggles, the communication came after the fact. The communication came after every agenda was already posted. And again, even Liz never got a formal professional receipt email that she received her agenda item for the ranch.
Yeah, no acknowledgement at all.
So, we're just being honest, transparent, fair, and no chairman in our history has limited time frames.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so moving on, the language situation with William Seahair and Teresa His Chase. They want to declare a state of emergency for the Arapaho language. I just wanted to be clear with this is that I do believe this is a very important issue. This is just an example of her manipulating the schedule, the agenda, in my opinion, because whenever you say a state of emergency for our language is a pillar of our culture. So of course everybody's ears are going to pop up, and listen very intently because that is a very important topic, but it's already been handled.
Correct. And it's already been declared.
Right.
Second, as a former council member, why didn't she get this done while she was in office if it was that near and dear to their hearts?
Excellent point. Excellent point. She was she was a councilwoman for 2 years?
Well, not only that, they got ripped because during that tenor, they were not having open door policy, not meeting with anybody on Mondays because they were taking their own culture language classes on Mondays, and that got on out. That stopped real quick because if they're going to take classes, take it after 4:45. You're there to be a business council member, to do a job for the people, for the tribe, and language is important. I agree, but there should be some kind of different path of have they even tried to meet with our current NABC now to get this done, a resolution, put it out there, it's declared, and not take the time of general counsel where this could be taken care of internally. So
Yes.
from what I understand, they're trying to update and from what I understand, apply for grant money. But go sit down at the table and schedule a meeting with the secretary and go meet with NABC and have that mutual respect for our leadership. And that's my thoughts on that. So it's already been declared.
Yes.
Go a different route.
Yes. Thank you for that. Did you other ladies have anything to chime in on that before we move on?
I really don't.
No.
Next up, they have on here Carol Harper. She wants to do a motion to adopt a resolution. So this is she's asking for tribal law here. She wants to adopt a resolution to form an organized task force. Holy cow! For emergency management preparedness to be open to all interested members of the tribe if they want to join. So she's asking for some law here.
I don't understand at all what she's trying to do because, like we had talked about before, Harvey Spoonhunter is our Homeland Security. He's over all of this stuff. They have their own emergency management plan. They have a response team. They have all of that. So, and I guess my question would be, who's going to pay for this? Because we're broke, right?
Exactly.
It's being redundant. And Mr. Harvey Spoonhunter already has those relationships with Riverton, Lander, all of Fremont County, has been in that position for how many years, and let him do his job.
Yes. Don't muck it up.
Yeah, if he wants a task force, I mean, let him get his own task force.
I mean, it could get confusing for people. Do I call Carol Harper or do I call Harvey Spoonhunter? You don't want to, with something this important, you don't want to muddy up the waters, for sure. This is too important.
I say next.
Well, the next one is a goodie as well. Kim Harjo wants to. She only has on here as her agenda items: terrorizing of election judges and tribal programs. 15 minutes allotted for that, and then another 15 minutes allotted for podcast. Period.
Did excuse me, but did you say co-chairman? Is that one of our leaders that uses the word terrorize? I mean, could we have picked a better word for that coming from our co-chair who sits second highest in our tribal whatever, I mean, that's kind of, I don't know.
It's a little drastic and over the top, isn't it? A little drama. Is she a little drama queen?
Yeah, she is.
Well, I Googled it. Let me read the definition of terrorizing. Terrorizing is the present participle of the verb terrorize. It means to fill someone with intense fear, anxiety, or dread, often by using or threatening violence. It also describes using intimidation or threats to force or coerce someone into doing something.
Oh my gosh. Part of the resolution states that the business council has no business in any interactions or dealings of the election committee members. So, that makes you want to ask, well, who went to her for what? And why did she choose to take this action, this terroristic, whatever, to general counsel when they are not supposed to have anything to do with the election committee?
Right.
And that was established by the general counsel because her, with her 8 years of being a council person, she should know. Also, she was a part of selecting the election committee, which was a conflict of interest.
Yep.
And also a part of violating their own application to be a judge, which on the application is stated you could not, I repeat, could not be a convicted felon.
Yes.
So for someone that likes to break rules and to just put something on out there, it speaks for itself. And
Well, she is a drama queen. I mean, because we sat in a meeting, Nicole and I had a meeting with the NABC. We were talking about money, and it came up about drugs, and she was a little bit upset about that. But what really set her off was talking about how the tribe was paying her taxes on her land, and all of a sudden she just lost it, and she's like, "No security, no security," and
So she's a big deflector.
yeah, I mean, no, she don't know how to interact with the tribal members. She's gaslight. She turns it back on you. You're the problem.
Oh yeah.
You dare tell the truth on me because that's terrorizing. You're terrorizing me.
And she hugs everybody and with a knife in one hand and the other arm around you. So, it's hard to believe that this co-chairwoman has any sort of education when she puts something on the agenda like that. It's kind of, I would be embarrassed, to put something on there like that. And then I seem to recall, I'm not going to say how old I am, but years prior, she had something on the agenda years and years ago about personal attacks on people. And, she was calling somebody, saying somebody was bullying her. Well, this is kind of the same thing. Who is she bullying, and, who is she protecting when it's none of her business anyway? It's not her place, So it's like they apply certain rules to certain people,
And the GC chairwoman put this on the agenda, and it's out there for the public. So it's in newspapers. It's on County 10.
It's a personal vendetta to me. I mean,
that shouldn't even been allowed. That hits personal vendetta, doesn't it? I don't even know how the chairman even allowed this to be on the agenda. And not only that, furthermore, again, her actions, she likes to break the rules. She doesn't implement the rules. She doesn't follow the rules. She doesn't uphold the rules. For example, having the NABC office in the casino. According to our regulations, no political activity in the casino. So I made a suggestion for them to move their office. And she said, we can have our office in here. I called Secretary of Procedures. I said, oh, yeah? Really? Well, give me the phone number. Because who in the heck did she call? We are Secretary of Procedures. So then with this last one of the meetings that Liz brought up, she did lose her cool points, came unglued, and ranting and raving, calling the casino security to throw us out. There's no way you can use the casino security in that kind of shape, way, or form. You're crossing some boundaries here, some lines, and can't be done. So again, for somebody to be in the seat for 8 years, not knowing any kind of rules, regulations, or upholding, speaks all for itself.
Well, this is the last
Yeah,
time
they
her
should get rid
last
of her.
term, right?
Fire her.
So
Well,
She don't go to work anyway.
yeah, she don't, a dead horse that can't run again. So.
oh, she's a
Let's
lame
talk
duck.
about this election committee now.
Yeah.
Because, this falls right in the line. Keenan says,
Wait.
You know-
Back to Truck Up podcast. That's our First Amendment right.
Podcast.
Podcast. Bringing this to General Counsel. I mean, are we going to bring the Indian Relay podcast? There's all kinds of podcasts that are out there.
Yes.
And,
I personally think everybody should have a podcast. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. They can just start recording themselves on the phone and put it out there, basically.
Yeah,
Exactly. I wish more people would.
Nobody's forcing anybody to look at them. Nobody's forcing anybody to listen. And like you say, this is our opinions. They belong to us. You don't have to listen.
Yeah, freedom of speech. So you can't take that away from anybody. So that should have been allowed onto the agenda of where in the heck they're even going to go with this.
Another personal vendetta.
Yeah, personal vendetta. Check mark, personal.
Okay.
I don't know.
Retaliation. Yeah, hot mess. She's a hot mess. Yeah. This is a hot mess. Okay, so now we're going to get into some really very serious subject matter here. We have to talk about the election judges, and this is one of your agenda items, Nicole. And luckily to this evening, we have an actual election judge here with us. So I definitely want to give you guys the time to get your situation, your conversation, and your thoughts and your points across. So I'm going to yield the floor to you guys. So you go for it.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, as far as the election committee goes, we changed that resolution, I don't know, less than a couple of years ago, where it said NABC shall appoint. Well, we changed that to General Counsel shall appoint. So I don't know what the deal is with us not starting our, our terms yet, because for one thing, the Shoshone tribe have already put out their calendar. That needs to be done for the Arapaho tribe soon. Yes. So when these lovely ladies asked the business council why the other people are still acting as election judges, and they said they didn't want to step on any toes or to get involved in that. Well, they already did. They already did when they selected them. So my answer to that is just not pay them, and then we start our term, that we get ready for the new election. And also, like I said before, and I'll say it again, they only follow certain rules that they want for certain people, like this 8-year term limit. Okay, so we have somebody on there that's been in there for 12 years or more, you know? So, you know, and the other thing, what about the felon one, you know? So they've already, you know, they've already violated two things just right there. And also, so that if they're going to say that they're going to keep these individuals, 6 of them or 7 of them, in there for 8 more years, well, what about us? We were ousted 2 years ago without good reason. And Wyatt Golding is the one that told us at the last meeting that when we assembled, he said, by the way, did you know the business council can select new election judges? And we said, what? Why would they do that? Sure enough, we got a letter 2 days later. So which brings me to my next item. I still say that we should have an election judge secretary, and that it not be a secretary shared with the business council, because people that we talk about when it comes to candidates, you know, Nora is there, and who signs her paycheck? The business council. We talk about them if they're running for re-election. We talk about their debts. We talk about the drug tests. Well, she can very likely go back and tell them that, because again, who signs her paychecks? It's the business council. So the other thing is, there's only 2 or 3 sentences, 4 sentences tops in the section 11 that addresses election judges. It's very, very brief. And so there's a lot of changes that need to be made to the resolution. Again, I'm going to stipulate that, you know, the election judges shall perform their duties and responsibilities free from review and control of the business council. You know, let that be first and foremost on every judge's mind when we start to perform our duties and responsibilities. There's still other things that I have concerns about, but I'm going to go ahead and let Nicole hand it off to her.
Well, I agree wholeheartedly, 100% separation of powers. Again, pretty simple, but they made it all complicated. Whereas Mr. Dino Roman, this was his item.
Yep.
And brought forth to the general council, and it finally came back to the people. Throughout a whole history, the judges have been put in those positions by the people. Never has that power been given to the NBC to select the judges. And again, that was always, I put it out there, conflict of interest, because the NBC are always considered candidates.
Yes.
So with that being said, how they allowed Spoon Hunter to resign, wear 2 hats, dual duties, that was all noted. Mrs. Nora Willow gave me all the timelines when he met with the judges. And then I believe it was like, for example, on a Monday, I got the dates all written down. And then Friday, he officially resigned as a NABC member. And then lo and behold, they select him to be a judge. Seriously? It don't take rocket science to figure this one out. So with all those violations, what was their mission? You know, why was it so important for him to be in there? And to look at who could run, who couldn't, who could slide by, who was not debt free. Because if you look at all the history, how many times they have attempted to bring to general counsel of what's considered debt free, and every time it's been thrown out.
Yep.
So I don't know what their mission is, but it looks pretty
suspect.
Oh yeah. So whatever their intentions were, it is showing. And again, I want to note that there was one individual that tried to be a judge and was absolutely thrown out. There's never been men in our history to be an election judge. So again, this thanking Mr. Dino Roman bringing this item back up to the GC and letting the people vote who they wanted in, let their voices be heard. And it's interesting, not one of them made it. Not one.
That's telling.
They weren't even nominated. So, the people have spoken. And then what I'm getting at is it's pretty simple. I don't know how come NABC can't say we refuse to pay these people that were ousted by the general counsel. We choose to uphold general counsel resolution. They were thrown out of May of 2025. So
by NBC.
They were thrown out. So uphold it and refuse to pay these deadbeat judges. Right?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't see them letting this go. I hope that's why us showing up to general counsel and having the people place our elected judges in those seats. It's so important that we get that and make that happen at GC this Saturday, because NABC is out of, we're going to have to pry it out of their cold dead hands or something. It's one of those circumstances. I just don't see them giving any kind of leeway or putting our election judges in those seats. We, the people, have to do that Saturday.
Well, not only that, voting rights. We need a fair election.
Exactly.
They screwed up the recall process. To this day, we still do not have a certification. A certification where everybody voted and the absentee ballots professionally done and signed, and the clerks. That was never given. If everybody looks onto the Northern Arapaho Tribal website, Spoon Hunter utilized that platform to talk about himself and about how he's a convicted felon. That's not what we were talking about in the recall process. We were throwing out Mr. Goggles for all his actions. And again,
right.
Professional at any kind of casting those kind of votes, there's always a certification. To this day, we don't have one. And right. Also, I think the people need to know that from firing the former judges, what were the meetings set at that time?
$250 a meeting.
$250. So
that's reasonable.
Now that this crew came in, that were selected by NABC, they upped their meeting pay to $500. And I know that they violated all their rules with the recall process. I got a letter stating that Hetty Brown was going to recuse herself, not be a part of it. Mr. Spoon Hunter said he's going to recuse himself because he knew he was a convicted felon, not be a part of it. Yeah, right. Really? I got documentation that they received pay. So no, they did not recuse themselves at all. So with that being said, I also put onto the agenda for them to pay all this money back, because in reality, the people spoke, voted them out in May of 2025, and come all the way around the horn here to present time, and it's adding up. The total amount is $39,302.56. So they basically milked the heck out of this cow.
And the election judges, they do have their own budget. They have their own budget items. So I'm be interesting to find out what's left of that, if anything, and it'd be interesting to find out if they're milking it right now to where there's nothing left for us. But that's remains to be seen.
So who pays, who gives them that budget?
They made their own. So basically, let me back the chunk up real quick. I got my figures in front of me here. For the 6 judges, it amounted to $36,000. For the recall process with the staff and the machines cost us $39,302.56. So add those figures together of the cost. Also, again, I tried to have them pay back when they tried to do staggered terms, violating our 6663A, not going through the proper process of amending 6663A. Referendum vote does not exist in that resolution at all. That resolution's passed out at every general council. You could flip through it back and forth. There's no definition. It doesn't exist. It can't happen. And so with that being said, during that time, those elected officials misused and abused their power to try to stay in into those seats. And I still strongly feel that they should have paid all that money back. That was a lot of money. That money, again, I was trying to have it voted on. We kind of got into it at general council about that issue for accountability, because I wanted them to pay it back, divide it up by 6, and put it in for our elders. We have nothing for our elders.
Yes.
I want to say something about that real quick. So when we did the training both in Vegas and the one in can't remember where the other place was, Albuquerque, we had an official look at our resolution 6663A, and he said that he's professional. He's done all these elections all over Indian country. So the referendum process is not in the resolution for anyone to request, not the business council, not the election judges, and not general council. So like she said, the referendum process does not exist in our resolution. So that came from a top official. So they're doing that, like she said, illegally. It needs to be written in there.
Also the secretary too, right?
Yeah.
That's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to have that separation of powers. Otherwise, there's no checks and balances, which is where we're at right now. The fox is in charge of the hen house.
Not only that, I don't know if anybody's been watching. So in the beginning, there was an X amount of judges. And then they went to NABC, took over to appoint. And then when they went into that appointmentship and then advertising for these positions, that stated at the bottom of the application, cannot be a convicted felon. We lost some seats along the way.
Oh.
So that's why I put that on there for discussion of the original. How many did we originally have?
I'm not really sure it varied. We started out with like 7 and ended up, or 8.
8.
And then we ended up with 6, 7.
This was during the COVID era. Somehow we lost some judges along the way.
Right.
So I put that open for the people to talk about, to discuss. Duly noted. Do we need to open it up later to have people fill those seats? Because right now we're in an election cycle now. And these guys should be taking their seats professionally. The people spoke, bottom line.
Exactly. So I'm going to throw a question at you ladies about this whole thing. If we, God, I don't even want to think about it. If we don't get quorum for GC this Saturday and get our election judges, our duly elected election judges in those seats, we're going to have questionable elections this season. And are we ready to fight for the integrity of our elections? Is that going to be the next? Is there a plan? Is there a backup plan to this if the bad actors are not removed?
Here's the deal. I even tried to request to meet with them. Everybody's an adult. I would think that they're an adult. Second, I asked if all judges would meet with me about this issue, right? Couldn't get a meeting. It was one thing after another, last minute, all close to the last date to place an item onto the agenda. And then it was interesting. They didn't even want to meet in person. They wanted to do a Zoom link. And they already did this to me before at the recall process. So in the recall process, I didn't get to meet with them or to dispute. And the chairperson, what's her name again?
Sorry?
No, the election judge.
Elsie?
LC Charge and Crow sent me a Zoom link with no content. I had to show that all to the lawyers and everybody else. I mean, smooth move.
Hmm.
You know, how am I supposed to attend this meeting when you didn't even do the Zoom link? So, I mean, there were so many issues and unprofessionalism, and I could show everything, you know, as documentation where they failed professionally.
Hmm.
And then now, again, when did we start going on with the Zooms and not meeting with people in person? Because when we request that meeting, it's our meeting. It's
Yeah.
my meeting. That's you're in those seats, right? The election judges. You have to take those meetings, whether you like the person or not.
Right.
That their actions speak for themselves. I'm looking at these judges that they have no respect for our supreme governing body.
Hmm.
Why don't they be professional, resign,
Yeah.
right? Step back. They should have did that in May of 2025.
Yes.
Like, holy cow, the people did not put us in.
Right.
Simple.
Yes.
You're taking money that doesn't
Mhm.
belong to you,
Mhm.
right? So, but no, you know, you hear the crickets out there. I'm broke. We need a meeting.
Right?
We need a meeting. You know what? Let's hit the money train, right? And let's all go down to Vegas. Pretty pictures. It's all over out there that they took of themselves for how many trainings, this, that, to whatever. You know, we'd like those numbers
Yeah.
because the bottom line, pay it back.
Yes.
Back. The money train stopped in May 2025.
Hmm.
And to have that uphold yourself in a higher standard, integrity, ethics, and honor what the people have voted for and spoken. So for
Yeah.
me, their actions, they also have no respect for general counsel, which is our supreme governing body. What do you
Yep.
think? Lise?
Well, you know, when we have somebody who's doing all these Facebook and whatever, you know, my dear Arapaho people, you know, my Arapaho people, I did this, I did that, I did this, and still doing that, and you know, council's probably still giving him jobs on the side, you know, and but yet for the people to tell us that they're broke, I mean, for the council to tell us that we're broke, you know, and then to have this person double that pay to $500 and then sometimes meet twice a week, that's $1,000 a week for each one of those 5 or 6 people. That adds up, and that's taking money from our people, from medical travel, funerals, you know, and yet you have the goddamn nerve to say my Arapaho people. Yet here you go, taking money from our elders, our children, our sickly, you know. Who the hell do you think you are? Who are you fooling? The people that you're buying alcohol for using the tribal credit cards? The young men? Sorry, I had to let that out.
Yeah.
It's shameless. It's just shameless.
Yeah, as Elsie being the chairwoman, you know, she could do her due diligence and get rid of her felon. Police your own body. You know,
Oh, excellent point.
backbone.
Yeah.
Excellent point. The chairwoman of the election committee could do the right thing right now.
She doesn't know how to. She's not able to. And she's going to come at me for this. I should say that she's terrorizing me because she confronted me once at a St. Stephen's board meeting, and I should have said, hey, you're terrorizing me. I'm going to run to the council.
Yeah. Well, not only that, chair people have ran in the history of my family. My late aunt Irene Warren was the chairman for maybe 30 something years, and she held her own. And if NABC wasn't doing their job, she removed them, took them to court, grabbed the bull by the horns. And that's what she was known for. Wasn't afraid of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well respected. But my aunt, may she rest in peace, was the chairperson for many, many, many years. So the twists and turns of the committee, what they've done, what they've changed, what they've done in 6663A, or how they're not taken back to court. This all needs to be relooked at again and close the loopholes.
Yes.
A lot of loopholes.
A lot of loopholes, and they're running trains through all of them.
Yeah, for example, they weren't about fairness from the election prior. They didn't go with the next highest vote getter, which was Preston Moss. They chose to appoint, and I don't think anybody understands that verbiage in our 6663A, meaning it was clearly stated to me by Wyatt Golding that anybody over 18 could have been selected as an NABC member.
Yeah.
But at that time, they chose Mr. White Bull. And it's interesting. People watch. People pay attention. And to be fair, they weren't even fair. So with that being said, Mr. Preston Moss, he made it unanimously. Mr. White Bull did not. But I mean, just how they manipulated the system and the loophole to whoever that they were trying to conjure up onto their so-called team. But the bottom line is these election seats are not lifetime seats. These election seats are for the people. They take a look of office, and they need to be reminded that at that door, you drop everything. Whoever comes on in, whatever that you're doing, you're for the people. And who ultimately holds herself up in that kind of manner is Mr. Preston Moss.
Yes. Absolutely. Great discussion. Thank you so much. Liz, did you want to cover your Arapahoe Ranch before we sign off?
Not really, because it should be I want to say slam dunk.
Slam dunk.
It's been on the agenda for years and years and years, over and over and over. And the people just want to get it done.
Yes.
So if we could just get quorum, we can get it done.
Thank you for that. I'll take that as your final word. Francis, did you want to have a final word before we sign off?
I just want to encourage everybody to get to the general council meeting. We need your support. Change can only happen with you. So please attend. Give us your time and attention that day. We need to make sure that the upcoming election is fair to all of us, to everybody.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And Nicole, final words.
Election committee resign.
Yeah, it'd be nice if the election committee just flat out stepped aside.
Get out of the way, yeah.
Get out of the way.
Thank you.
We need a fair voting election cycle and professionalism. And for all that to be on out there and to gear on up to get ready. So I hope everybody comes to the general council meeting. It's unfortunate. I don't know what the details why it's not being held at Great Plains Hall.
Yeah.
It's in Ethity, so if that's the case and the hall was not available, then why pick the 30th? Pick a date to where the hall was available. The chairman should honor that this meeting should be at the big daddy of them all, Great Plains Hall.
Exactly.
This is where all our people vote. They come, and population-wise, we're all down this way. Not only that, she did state at the former general council turned informational meeting that the next general council will be in April. April flew by. This all could have been done in the month of April. But now it's conflicted with many things going on within our tribe.
Yep. ceremonies and all that kind of sort of thing, vacations and kids
Yeah.
out of school.
Could already been done.
Yep, could already be done, and we'd have our schedule out there for the upcoming elections. Like the Shoshones, our neighbors already have their schedule. All right, ladies. Hey, thank you so much for coming on this evening, and we will see you Saturday. Until
All right.
next time, stay safe out there, all my relations.
All our relations.